So today, it's a PM's guide to the galaxy. And really what we're going to be talking about is going to be ways to report, dashboard, and get information out of 3D. Not necessarily directed towards PM specifically. Anybody can use this and benefit from it. But a lot of times I've seen where, PMs get a lot of value out of our software by utilizing these different tools that we have at their disposal. Housekeeping, same as always. It's going to be recorded. You'll get an email letting you know where to go for that. This is the last of the 6-part series. So if you've enrolled, thank you. And you missed any of the previous ones, you should have access to all of those. The chat's open. Feel free to ask questions in the questions and answer or in the chat itself. I'm okay with either at this point. Any future webinars that we have coming up, just go to @Revizto. I think that's on LinkedIn, or you can go to our website and you can see all those there. And also my handle on LinkedIn @Corey Clasen. So if you guys wanted to connect, that's how we can do that on LinkedIn there. And again, there's my beautiful mug. A little bit about me. I am an electrician by trade. Just to kind of touch on that again. Between BIM and VDC and in the field, I've got about 15 years altogether. So built the jobs, coordinated the jobs. So I've been in a lot of your shoes from the subcontracting side of things. So today we're going to start out inside of Revizto. And the reason why I want to start here, and I know that we've kind of already touched on this a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit more about the selection inspector specifically in this context, okay? So our selection inspector, there's a couple of different things to set up first. First is going to be some search sets here, and this is really going to be leveraged. So if you guys are trying to get bulk information for certain, say, packages or for certain material type or size or anything along those lines, right? You can easily do that through search sets. So for this example, let's just say I want to pick this cable tray, right? What's going to happen is everything I have selected is going to show up in this selection inspector here. And I can pull this up a little bit just to give a little bit more context. But all of these column headers here come from our favorite properties. And I think we talked a little bit about this when we were talking earlier, but this is all this information that we set up here. And we say that this is the most important thing for this particular item, right? So I have this cable tray prefab favorite set up. I also have selected here, not just cable tray, I also have strut, I also have all thread. So that's why you see a lot of this information that isn't filled. But let's say I were to select on this all thread, other information is going to fill in if I select on the strut, right? So that's why this information doesn't always fill in every time, but it's because I have a lot of different information I'm trying to pull at once for this specific report. So again, if I go here and I select all of this package, right? All this prefab package that I have here, we can look at this information here. These can be, moved around so that it makes sense for you. You can filter by them. A lot of different information there, right? But what's nice about this is that we can export this out to an Excel file, specifically a CSV file type. And really there is where you start to get some more power out of the information that you have modeled and have selected inside of your model. So I'm going to jump over to this fancy other thing that I've done because I got access to a cool new software. So I did this thing. So the selection inspector, this is the report. This is what it comes out, this is what it looks like. Again, these are the favorite properties that I have selected for this particular, this is my cable tray prefab favorite property, if you will. And this is all the information I had selected there. So again, make your favorite properties work for you. Spend some time, figure out what parts of which systems matter, and create these for yourselves to really make your life a little bit easier. And what more importantly is, even if you're not going to use this for reporting, this becomes what is your quick properties. So essentially what you are looking at in the model. So if I were to hover over this, why is that doing that? Right. So you'll see this information that's on my screen here, just from hovering over this element, is what I have favorited in my list, right? So as you're reviewing and flying through the model, you could, review your conduit, you can review your ductwork, you can review your wall types, you can review all these things. You just need to set up the properties for them, and it becomes a lot easier to just toggle that between, what it is that you're looking at, and then have the information right there, right at your fingertips. So that's one of the things there. So, and then have as many as you need, right? You don't, this isn't, we're not trying to constrain anybody to, one or two different things, right? Make these as often as you'd like, make them work for you. And work with your other team members to come up with other ones that make sense for the project too as well. And then again, this is, just use the search sets to create these in bulk. You could just, select a couple of different items and that's what's going to show up. But to really kind of speed through this whole process is if you have intelligent search sets, your reports will be better. Okay. So, and then you can even create more complex search sets to really further define these down if you wanted to. So let's see. Yeah, so a lot of people, thanks for the poll question. So it's okay, good. So people are getting exposed to this. That's great. I'm happy to hear that. I think this is a really, really powerful tool that we have inside of our software that a lot of people don't take advantage of. The other thing that I wanted to note, and if you can run that next question for me, Deidre, that would be great. And I don't know if we talked about this, and it doesn't really play into this, but into this particular topic, but I definitely wanted to make sure I copy or talk about it, right? Is the ability for us to select certain objects in the project, whether that's through a search set or whether that's through just selecting objects in general. But we do have the ability to, let's say I want to go all my air terminals on the project, right? And again, this is going to be weird because of what it is, but so let's just say default, right? So if I wanted to say I have all these air terminals and I need to make sure that I review them and they're all correct, they're all spec'd out correctly or whatever the case may be, right? I have the ability to come into Selection Inspector, select all 4 of those, and then create an issue for each one of these. So that way they get reviewed, they get looked at, or whatever whatever needed to happen, right? So I can create 4 issues right here, right now. I didn't have to go find them. I just identified them and selected them. And now I have issues for all 4 of those that can then get, talked about or reviewed, approved, whatever the case may be there. Okay. So it's something I don't know that I spent much time talking about earlier, but this is a really handy way to make sure you capture a lot of things that just either need review or, something along those lines, right? So there's that. Okay. So there's that. And then let's jump back over to my handy dandy little thing here. And then we're going to jump over into dashboards. And what I want to do is I want to overview like some use cases that I think are really, really good. There's, not super advanced or not hard to create, but I at least wanted to give you an overview of what the dashboards are before we jump into like how we get there and then how we create them. So I'm going to slide this over and then I'm going to zoom in, right? So this dashboard here is just an example. These issues were tagged with RFI, for example. So this is just it's just pulling the tag information and it's creating this dashboard here. So again, this could be something that you already have templated inside of your stamps. So every issue that has this stamp gets applied this tag every time. So in this case, it'll show you what's in progress, off, closed. There are no opens, so that's why they're not reporting back in this case. But you would see red in here as well if there was any open issues that weren't either in progress, solved, or closed. The next one here is just a timeline, and I'll try to zoom in a little bit because the numbers get kind of small. But the next one is just a timeline, and this is just issue type and status to see timeline of the clashes, right? So all we're going to do is we're going to define the issue type as a clash, and then we're also going to have the status be open, in progress, solved, or this one doesn't have solved, but this is open, in progress, and closed. Okay, so obviously you want to see this closed line keep going up, or maybe that means there's more issues being closed. And then your opens, you obviously want to see those go down, and you want to see your in progress eventually be 0, right? So you want to see these lines go apart from each other to determine how the health of the project is going. And then, you have the ability to set this up for my general contracting clients and partners that are in here today. Set this up by your company. Spend the time in the workspace itself to actually define which company people work for. And then you can leverage that information in your reports. And for my subs, if you guys have multiple team members that are on your project, you can set this up for each individual user. So you could have an overview and show, who has the most work You know, maybe that person needs help. Maybe, you know, there's an issue with a very specific system or something along those lines, right? These dashboards just help you to understand kind of the health of the project and maybe where some changes may need to be on the fly. And then even this one, I like this one a lot. You know, this is assignee and status. So again, we're talking about, you know, person and then open in progress or closed. And then we're also talking about specific areas of the project, right? So we can confine that to level or zone using the information that we have inside of our projects. And this is going to give you an idea of, you know, which area in the building is maybe the most problems, and then again, who may need some help in order to close out some of these issues for your teams, right? And then this one down here at the very bottom, this is my absolute favorite. I love this one. And this is just a flow chart, and it just shows, you know, where items were and where items are currently. So I pulled this yesterday. So this is a 1 month run, 1 month time. So it'll show you where issues that were open, where they've gone. So some of them have been solved. Others of those haven't been worked on, or they've you know, gone back to being in an open status. And it'll even show issues that were closed that were reopened, or issues that said that they were solved and, you know, they had to go back for further conversation. So they moved it back to being an open status, right? And then also right here, this top red bar shows you how many new issues you had over that same time frame. So again, just as a snapshot, this is a really good way to see kind of how things are trending on the project, and just keep an eye on, you know, what's happening in and around the project itself. Right. So that's the overview there. Now, these are all fun and these are all pretty and all that stuff, but how do we get here? And that's what I'm going to show you now. So again, we go back all the way to the very beginning of this webinar series, and we talk about the issue tracker itself. And when we go to this custom filter thing, option, I guess is probably the better way to say that, instead of just calling it a thing. All of these filters that we have available here become filters that we have in our dashboards and reports as well. So not only can we use this to filter the issues that we see inside of our projects, but we can also use this to create the dashboards that would be important to us, right? So that's, you know, the first part is, you know, knowing that this is where the information is coming from. It's coming from the issue tracker itself and all the information that lives within inside of that part of our software. And then to get to the actual web to see the reports and dashboards, you're going to first click on issue tracker, and then you're going to click on this envelope, and that's going to take you to this website. And I had to use some memes today. So we don't want what it's going to default to. So if you click that, it's going to default you to reports. We don't want that. We want to click on the dashboards right next to it, which is what I'm going to do right now. Click on dashboards, and what you're going to see for your projects that you're going to this web space for, you're going to see dashboards that you have access to and reports you have access to as well. You can create your own dashboards and reports for yourself. You can share those across for the project. Anything that you need to do there, you do have the ability to do that, even if you're being told you have to use the software. So you can leverage this information for yourself. If we want to create a new dashboard, that's going to be the high level, like what is this dashboard? We can do this, and we can just call this clash issues or something, right? So we know what that is. And then I can just hit save, and you'll see that shows up. If I go back to dashboards, you'll see that's here now. Now this is going to come in blank, right? So we've essentially just created a folder to hold all the charts that we want for this dashboard. So if you've used this before and you want to bring in your old charts, you can bring those in. You can import them. You can export these out for the next one if you really like them, anything like that. But we're going to go ahead and just create a new chart, and we're just going to do this together, right? So this is my demo project. Looks like Buck Davis is really struggling to get his issues closed. Sorry for that guy, but he needs to get his stuff together. But from right here, we're just you name it. And then we have lots of different chart types. So you could do tree maps, time flows, status flows, bar charts, pie charts, donuts. I mean, that's a lot of different ways to look at data, right? So we're just going to go bar chart. The chart size is either full or half, and that just means how it displays in the previous screen. So I'll just do a full one here. So it's going to come across like the full screen here. If I went half, it would be obviously half of the screen, right? Show bars with zero values. If you want to see that if there's zeros, you can click that. You can do that stuff, whatever you want to do there. Grouping, we can start to group this information how we want it to be grouped. Right now, it's default by assignee, but we could change that to reporter, who's reported issues. You could go and do, again, type, right? So we're going to do clash issues, non-clash issues. If you wanted to do, you could do it by stamp category. So if you have a lot of different categories for all of your stamps and you have that all broken out, you can create a chart to show you what is going on there, right? So let's just do stamp category. We're going to do fixed. It doesn't matter how that works. Ascending, it's going to go, smallest number to biggest number. Descending, the inverse of that. I always like this one because I like to see at the top of the line who or what needs to be adjusted first. And to me, if it's a bigger number, that it needs to be adjusted first. Next, we're going to add some filters. So I have the stamps here. I can say the assignee. I can say assignee company. I can use deadlines. We can do a lot of different stuff, and we can continue to fine tune this report to report out exactly what it is that we want to see at the end of the day. So, for example, and as we move through this, so I'll do, assignee. That's fine. Is any of, and then you're going to select the people that you want who were assigning issues, right? So I think I've assigned most of them. So that'll be me for a lot of that, right? And then we can add another condition, right? So we'll say status is any of open and in progress. And then we can add another condition here that says, deadline is earlier than 7 days ago, right? So these are all the issues now that on the project that I have that were created by, or that are assigned to me and Anthony Heller, that are open and in progress, and they're 7 days overdue, okay, or more. So that this is a report that you can make for your entire team. And again, this is just breaking it down by stamp category, right? We could change this again to priority, right? What is the priority here of my issues that are 7 days old, right? And so you start to see how these reports can come together, and you can save these out, and you can template them, you can copy them to new projects, you can continue to fine tune these to really meet the needs of what you're trying to do and trying to accomplish. I think there's a third poll question, and Deidre, I probably missed the ball on when that was supposed to come out. So let's go ahead and drop that right now, if you don't mind. There we go. Yeah. So has anybody even looked at the dashboards on the web to kind of just peek at them, or? I tried to be funny with these. I don't think anybody's spying on the project. I just think I thought it was funny, and maybe it's not, but I thought it was pretty funny. Okay. Yeah. So reports, again, for the people who didn't know that there was them, I hope that you'll investigate these, look in to see which ones have been set up for your project. Really, experiment with your own reports and dashboards. Dashboarding is one side of it. Again, that's kind of what we've been talking about right now. So let me just go ahead and save this. Next is going to be reports. And there's a couple different ways that we can get reports out. First is going to be through PDF. The next one is just going to be through Excel. And I didn't pull these up, and I should have done that already. But give me a second. I will be able to do that pretty quick, probably. Yeah, so if I pull this over, right? So these are just some examples from a long time ago, right? So I haven't updated these in a long time. There is more information in them now, but this is just what I have available, so we don't have to wait for me to export them and open them up. But from a dashboard perspective, you can just, you can export that whole dashboard as, as a PDF report. right? So they could just get that whole that high level overview of what the dashboards looked like at that point in time as you guys were, when you reported it out. The next one is going to be a PDF report. And again, this is going to be a report that was made that's going to show clashes in a specific area. And the nice thing about reports is that you don't need to have access to Revizto to be able to gain access to these reports. You can send these to your grandma if she really cares about what's going on. Obviously, don't share sensitive information to people who don't need to have it or don't have the rights to have access to. But if somebody in your company wasn't part of the Revizto project, but you still needed and they still wanted to have the information, they have that available to them. You could add them to the report and send it to them. So yeah, this is kind of what this looks like. You can add more information to this. Really, being able to fine tune these to show exactly what it is that you want to see is very, very helpful. And then the last one to show you is going to be the Excel report that can come out as well. And this is really going to be a lot of data. So it even says human readable. So as you roll through here, you'll see comments, you'll see watchers, abbreviations, GUID numbers. So if you are looking to tie this to something, maybe without the use of an API or something along those lines, you may be able to map some of this stuff using the information here, right? So the other thing is these are going to be hyperlinks. So if you send a report to somebody who does have access to Revizto, they can come in here and they can click on the snapshot. And what it's going to do is it's going to take them to a snapshot of the issue itself. Which kind of goes hand in hand back to the workspace itself. And we do have it's probably something I wasn't going to talk about today, but I got you guys here, so I might as well. The other thing is the issue tracker, right? So a lot of times project managers or people like that, they don't necessarily want to be in 3D, but they want to be able to see and look at the issues that are going on the project. So what we have is a web-based issue tracker, no 3D, no 2D, but you will be able to, filter these issues. You can see who it's assigned to. You can filter the issues to show all the issues that are assigned to Heller. We can do, filter that down further to see all the clashes. You get the point, right? So you could use all of the presets that are already set up for the project. Those transfer over here. And you can look through the issues that you have on the project, make comments. So it's fully functioning in that regard, but you're not going to have the 3D model, and you're not going to be able to have the 2D sheets as well to go with that. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell for today. Is there anybody have any questions or something else that you would like for me to touch on when it comes to like the web space specifically? Well, there's no other questions, which is totally fine. We can wrap it up. So you can contact us, Revizto.com, help center, help.revizto.com. Again, LinkedIn, Revizto, for myself and Revizto. Don't forget about RevUp, March 18th through the 20th, 2024 in Denver. I'm going to be speaking there. So if you like listening to my voice, I will be talking. I have a speaking engagement along with several other probably way smarter people than me. But yeah, really hope that you guys at least consider coming to RevUp this next year, and really do hope to see all of you guys there. And thank you so much for not only coming today, but for sticking through me through the 6-part webinar. I hope that you guys got some value out of it. I hope it really wasn't a waste of anybody's time. But if you guys have any questions at all, reach out to me on LinkedIn, email me, whatever we need to do there. And I'm happy to continue the conversation. So you guys have a great weekend. Don't forget to hydrate, stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you guys soon.